Welcome to Business in the Black, the podcast where ideas become plans. Plans turn into actionable items, and actionable items become results. I'm your host, Brandon D. Morgan, and this is Season 2. Welcome to another episode of Business in the Black. As you can see, I am in a home. I mean, a real loving, exciting environment of a home. And we are here with Jamarcus and Ricky Underwood, the brains behind Tru Roots. All things, right. Welcome, Jamarcus and Ricky. And, would you all just give us a high level, what is it? What is Tru Roots? I mean, are y'all growing trees?
That's funny. Tru Roots is actually an airport play cafe designed and built specifically for airports. So as you go through the terminals and need a place for your kids to decompress, that is where Tru Roots was born.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So you're about to give the Sky Lounges a run for their money.
That's the goal. No one wants to see the kids in the Sky Lounges, so we created them for the kids.
Oh, cool. Word on the street is that you all are high school sweethearts. I mean, so that means that you've been together since high school. I mean, in today's world, that's to be commended, okay? So now, how has your relationship evolved, from high school sweethearts to, working and raising a family, and now you're building a business, and how have you been able to tackle that in something that's so ambitious and stay committed and connected?
Yeah, I think our relationship has grown tenfold over the number of years we've been together. Seeing the various life stages each of us have encountered, losing family members, getting married, going to cookouts and enjoying family. And so through that process, I felt that communication is way better. We can even know when someone is down, and we can pull the other person along, right? So with the time that we spent together, it has not always been shimmery and pretty, right? But I think anything you want, it shouldn't be pretty and shimmery, right? You should go through those trials with that individual so you can come out on the other side better and stronger. So I feel that, that's what we've been able to sort of build during this time together.
Awesome.
Yes, our partnership comes secondary to God, to our family, but our partnership is what makes us who we are. It's nothing big or small that we can't tackle together, and I think that's the fundamental success behind Tru Roots is our partnership.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ricky, this idea literally birthed from you looking for an alternative to like a Chuck E. Cheese or whatever. And Chuck E. Cheese, if y'all want to, listen, please feel free to support us and give us a sponsorship, because we literally just called your name. Thank you very much. But, from Chuck E. Cheese and, looking to kind of blend play and an educational space. And you were looking for, somewhere for your daughter, Mahogany. She's so cute back there. Y'all see her. Oh, Tuki. Walk us through that thought process. Like, what was going through your mind as to how to marry those two?
I think for me, going into motherhood, I wanted to be intentional with my children's development, things they have access to, things they play with. So when we were based in Tallahassee, those spaces were limited. During that time, play cafes were coming on the scene. And being a working corporate mom, traveling with the kids, I saw an opportunity to blend the two. I wish I could say it was magically overnight, but I believe God provides a vision and you chase it. So between airports, hopping around with my daughter and seeing a gap in the market with play cafes, the terminals is where we targeted, and we've been going at it ever since.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, birth it out of need.
Yeah, that's right. That's the goal, right?
Cool.
It's really hard to see a gap this day and time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you both have, extensive educational backgrounds, history, healthcare admin, instructional design, all of these things. How do those degree paths and your experience help you to navigate what Tru Roots is becoming?
Yeah, I would say partly with education and history, realizing how important learning is for children, right? Well, we're talking about pre-K to up through 12th grade, right? It is vitally important. For me, I decided to focus on history, right? Because it was one I enjoyed, partly growing up, getting this info, but also realized that this is content I'm not hearing at school. So that really reinforced around how can I teach, but in a non-traditional format. Which that led to sort of the Tru Roots concept, right? Working in a space I'm teaching families and children in a non-traditional way, not in the classroom, right? But they were in my classroom at said museum. But then also getting to a point in my previous career in the history space, I was sort of moving to more independence, right? Understanding that I can run this entire operation. How do I do that for myself was a question, right? And so, again, leaning into Tru Roots, we can build something that we can own and hold on to. But secondly, it falls into the space around education and learning that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
Yes. My background is education. I am a teacher at heart at the end of the day. So the core question for me was, how are children learning outside of screens? Especially with travel, right?
Yeah.
We tend to provide tablets, iPads, gaming system for the easeability, for the patience that the kids would bring, that it would bring to the kids. But how can we stimulate them outside of those moments?
Gotcha. Talk to me about Baby Bayou.
So Baby Bayou was an organic homemade baby food company that we launched pre-COVID. And it was just that a lot of reports had come out with toxins and heavy metals within baby food. And we opted to provide our kids their baby food over store-bought. And we decided to pursue that venture. A big hiccup with Baby Bayou was COVID, because at that particular time, people were opting not to go homemade based due to the spread and risk of COVID. So essentially, it shut the business down. But every time I think about Baby Bayou, I think about most successful people go through a couple of businesses before they actually hit success.
Right.
And that's what Baby Bayou reminds me of. It was our failure that has landed us here to success.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. The response from Baby Bayou was somewhat surprising. I mean, this is baby food, so who's gonna come in and want to buy baby food? But the eye opener for me, we were in Tallahassee. We went to Havana, Florida, Gadsden County, and I remember going to Walmart buying a tent to pop up at the event, and we sold out of everything, right? And so we stayed up all night making these various pouches. You go spend money on a tent, and the reception from the crowd, but also selling out of the products was solidified it for me. And I would second what Rakita said. This led us to Tru Roots and sort of really building on it and trying to stay focused and not be swayed this time around. So,
Yeah. So I just had a revelation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying Baby Bayou. So I'm thinking somebody is from New Orleans, and the way you said it, it was Baby by you.
Mm-hmm.
By you,
Yeah.
It's food.
Yeah.
Light bulb.
Okay, you got it.
I wanted to interrupt, but I was like, is that what you said? I was like, I've been thinking about that all wrong. I didn't know what we were about to get into, and I knew it was about food because we talked about it, but it just didn't again, it matters how you say it or how you read it. Baby by you, baby by you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By you, BYEU, baby by you.
I'm always good for a good aha moment.
And if we have it our way, Baby by You might pop back up. And Tru Roots.
I was about to say, I just came over. If you got roots, you can grow.
That's the goal. It started off with homemade applesauce pouches. Again, hoping to provide clean produce foods for our babies as they were growing and developing. So now that we have Tru Roots, is an option to bring it back. But yeah, it will forever be our baby.
Absolutely. Yeah. So now, serious moment, statistical moment. 2% or less of airport concessions are Black owned. So that means what? There's a market for this. Did it, cause you to hesitate? Or did it fuel you to say, oh, we can get into this and we're gonna rock this?
Honestly, it became motivation to break that 2%, to be a part of that statistic, to lead a category that don't exist. It's motivation. One, because again, to find that type of market in this world, in this economy, I see it as a gift from God that I have to pursue. So it was definitely motivation. It is motivation to become one of those 2% of Black-owned concessions for airports.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. It fueled us in trying to get this thing going. But also through this process, through the research for identifying the points of contact, folks that are veterans in this field, I'm realizing there's a number of Black-owned concessionaires that have been doing their thing in the space. And so that is more incentive for us to then keep pushing, because we're talking 50, 60 plus year veterans in this game. And so why not follow that path, but also hopefully we can connect and partner and do some work together with some of those said entities. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Each one teach one.
Yeah.
That's the
For
goal.
sure.
You know the motto of Business in the Black. We're here for that. So pay attention. Now, Jamarcus, speaking of connecting with people, you're an analyst by training. And so you figured out who the right people were. You followed the data. And you sent multiple emails, time and time again, doing different things, trying to connect with these people. And what, of course, you didn't get responses all the time. And so talk to me about that level of perseverance. That's a key word right there. We might come back to that later. Perseverance, and how did it feel when you got that first response to say hello?
Yeah, I'll be honest. It started off as identifying these points of contact and reaching out. I realized I have a partner in this space, so I decided to take that hat off and pass it along, right? So what we've done was I'll consolidate all of these points of contact at said airports across the country. Then I'll pass it over to our partner, and then she can distribute out emails and points of contact. I will say the one email of the many we sent out that we got a response to, actually. One was from a pretty well-known concessionaire that operates at a number of airports. Their response was no, but not right now. That was a response, right? So that, again, it still allowed us to, it's something here. We got to keep going.
Yeah.
The second one was personnel at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, small business development, and we actually sat down and did a call with them. And after that call, it was still furthermore, we have to continue this because he was asking us questions we hadn't thought about, leasing the image to others. How do what does a partnership look like, right? So it allowed us to go and refine our concept, but also tell us that we were on to something and we need to keep going.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Yeah,
I'm very lucky to have a really good partnership with Jamarcus. Like you mentioned, he will pull every single email address that we may need to reach out to. And from there, it makes it easier for me to just do the outreach. Completely agree with him when we got the first no from the major concessionaire. But not right now, let us know we're on track.
Yeah.
So understanding that we was reaching out early and often, and it just took a little bit of time for buy-in and partnership essentially with others. And then, like you said, when we actually got the sit-down conversation with Hartsfield, like, it's no turning back, it's no quitting now.
Yeah, because you're in the big league.
Yeah, they're saying yes, not right now.
Right.
The airport world moves slow. That is the biggest learning curve, where brick and mortar, outside world, you probably could hear a yes within 30 to 60 days. You are waiting on cycles and meetings. So it's more of a game of patience.
Yeah. We just talked about playtime being over and you're in the big leagues. I mean, when you're meeting with Hartsfield International Airport, I don't know about nobody else, but I'm gonna go hard for my team. Okay, I've been flying out of that mode for all my life. And so, I imagine the excitement that you all were feeling, but you also say that when you walked into this meeting, as you just alluded to, not only did they, welcome you in, but they gave you, some pointers and some obstacles that you ran into and all these types of things. What were those obstacles and how did you navigate them?
Obstacles, I would say they became less of obstacles and more of options, right? And because, after that call, we were, again, things we're not thinking about. We're going in one track, one terminal.
Yeah.
And after that, it could be 3 terminals. Right? So it's really messing us up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And so we have the options there around, will it be one or multiple? How does that look across multiple airports? Is it, again, thinking about one area or it could be 3 or 4, right? And so those are the options, right? I think even more recently, getting some feedback from another airport, not in our area, and I'll let you refer to who it is and how that came about, but they're really interested, right? And so again, more options, less obstacles, and I think the track we're on, it may be very much a partnership that we could somehow wrap around and move forward and get set up in some of these airports. So we're just constantly going forward.
Yeah.
Yes, no, for sure. I think for me, the biggest obstacle is learning the airport space. It has been a whole learning curve. I know I feel like I'm in grad school again, from acronyms to how those proposals supposed to be written, to the aspects of those aspects that's supposed to go into your proposal, to conversations with architects and making sure we are within FAA compliance. So I think it's the learning curve of the new environment, more so in terms of obstacles and patience. Again, I think we've been on this journey about a year. If you look at concessions within airports, most of them are on an 8, 10, 12-year cycle. So essentially being new dogs, we have to wait for some of those spots to come open. And that right there is a game of patience.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I just came up with a whole new market for you all. It's giving write a book. Write a how-to book because for people who want to get into this, if you, I'm telling you, it's just I'm saying it on here so that when they write it, at least give me a thank you so somebody can come in and say, "Man, you did come up with that, didn't it?" Right? Bring me a few dollars.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's a whole process. To make it fair, most concession hopefuls have to go through a request for proposal cycle, and that within itself is 10, 15 pages of how are we going to run our ops, how are we going to keep it safe, insurance compliance, renderings, information about us. So it's a very intimate, detailed process. So hands down, I guess once we survive this process, we'll get you that book.
Please. and then they can come back.
Okay? And then more emphasis around a partnership with a primary concessionaire. As we mentioned, we're not looking to compete with what they're already offering, which many times is food and beverage, right? We're not considering children coming in with families, right? We want that, that single person or couple traveling. And so really enforcing that we're not looking to compete with their offerings, but add to what they have. And so that's a real driving force that we want to emphasize partnerships and potential concessionaires in the future.
Awesome.
Yes, and I think to close out this, you mentioned the obstacle, and I think as we kind of work through obstacles, the biggest one we're facing is welcoming a new concept to airports. And that innovation within itself, having the people, the personnel within the airports to be open to innovation, to change, to catering to families and children, it's the biggest obstacle that we face.
Yeah. You're going through the Atlanta Next program, and you'll start that in a couple of weeks. And I'm trying to figure out, just again to make sure that people know, you've been eyeing this program and going through the 1, 2, 3s and filling out the paperwork and all the things, to be positioned for this since last year. And how are you staying motivated and, keeping yourself in the game with that timeline being like so far away and now it's even closer?
Yeah. For me, I think I mentioned a few times that we learned early on this is a game of patience. As much as I would like a response, a yes, an entry into the program within 6 to 8 weeks, like it would be building a typical business. Early on, we realized it's more like 6 to 8 months, if not a year. Even if you sign a contract with the airport, you're still looking at months out for build out. But in between, we have received so many yeses, so much interest, and the DOT itself released $1 billion to support airports, enhancing their family-friendly programs.
Wow.
So with paired partnership, and that's unexpected with the DOT this day and time. So with that extra money, along with partnerships with established concessionaires, it has opened a pathway of possibility that we must pursue. So again, with the patience, with the persistence, it's not an option to quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. The momentum with the, again, DOT initiative around family-friendly airport travel, which came out at the beginning of December 2025. Randomly watching it on the news, a segment, and it said, you know, DOT is releasing these funds. And that was a week after we sent some information out and got a good response around, hey, we really like the concept, right? And so, again, that added more incentive for the airport. And also, it's not there's a concept already readily available, right? So we're not in reactive mode trying to create something to fit this bill. Hey, we're over here, just, you know, we can sit down and meet with you.
Yeah.
You can request the funds, we can get this thing going. And so I think that was another unexpected that, you know, it adds more fuel to what we're trying to bring and sit down and pitch to folks.
Yeah. The renderings for Tru Roots are absolutely beautiful and very intentional. You know, walk us through, you know, how you decided on that intentionality of, you know, the design and all of that, and what gaps you were trying to fill.
Yes, so Tru Roots is Montessori inspired, and the baseline of Montessori play is wooden toy play. Without the bright lights, the batteries, a lot of the electronic play is fully removed from the Montessori learning piece. So that is the structure of Tru Roots. And then as we talk about safety, germs, cleaning of the space, especially with airports, sticking with that wood piece that harbors less germs, less bacteria, helps with some of the germ concerns that we're hearing from parents. And then it's back to our original intent, to take the kids from the electronics just for a moment or two before they are loaded up on a plane, utilizing those things. So between, again, rooted in Montessori play, Montessori intention, that is the baseline and the structure of Tru Roots.
Yeah, and I would piggyback on that, the lifelong learning concept, right? Why not start that as early as you can? And so with it being underpinned by Montessori type curriculum, child-centered, let the child go and work on hand-eye coordination, interact with other children, right? All of this is sort of part of that intentionality around design and pulling all folks together, or children together, right? And I guess centered around learning.
Yeah.
And so while they're traveling, so while we can't do that before you get on another flight going home or to your destination.
Yeah, yeah. You have said multiple times that Tru Roots, we want to make sure that you're not coming in here playing on computers. And so with the world being so techy, you know, how are you communicating your vision and the value of your vision to decision makers?
Kind of cut and dry, just that, a non-tech space. And when we say non-tech, heavy on the screens, because we realize it's aspects of technology that can be educational.
Right.
But if you think about the travel day of a child, it is cell phone or tablet based, and that is what we're staying away from. And then data, statistics from Jay, hands down, that supports that time away from screens for a little bit, how it helps decrease some of the tantrums, the behaviors that you are seeing in kids. And then parents. Parents realize the journey to the airport, the journey to the destination. So during that time, a kid is typically on their tablet going to the airport through security and then waiting at the gate. So if we can help eliminate that, hopefully we're helping make peaceful travel, even for the kidless.
Yeah.
Less tantrums on the plane, in line during boarding, because they had that safe place to decompress, to wind down, to get a bite to eat. And that tension points that families experience during travel, an area where they can decompress, reset, and then enjoy the rest of their journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely cut and dry. Most folks that have airport personnel get the vision without even having to go into technology. But I think another focus around technology, how do we incorporate it into the business, right? So one idea is notifying parents. So if a child leaves a certain space, you're notified that he's over in the cafe or somewhere else. So you need to try to go grab your child before they walk out the door. So trying to incorporate technology to make the business more efficient is something we're really driving home, but definitely removing, the screens and the eyes and all of that for a little bit of time until you get to your destination, if you can wait. So
yeah, so you're using technology for you, just not for them.
Yeah, it's for us, not for the kids.
Yeah, cool. I think it's important to note that both of you still work full-time jobs while doing all of this other stuff. And, you're also able to self-finance Tru Roots. And so, how do you decide, how to invest your resources and, what to spend your money on and that sort of thing as you're waiting on this to blow up?
Yeah, I think the core question we ask ourselves is it going to push Tru Roots forward? Because there's a lot we can spend money on, from PR to marketing, but is it really going to move the needle? So those moments, we talk about making sure it's a really good investment. Up until this point, is it something we can save for, to cash flow it? Is it something that needs to be purchased or paid for today? Can we budget and plan for it as we plan out each quarter? As we go into 2026, though, we are exhibiting at 2 major airport conferences. So that may slightly change. But again, as Tru Roots open, our goal is to open the doors with little to no debt.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to jinx it because it's going good so far. We're going into a really big year for Tru Roots this year. But yeah.
yeah, I definitely agree. I think the biggest investment has been, connecting with Lori, and her expertise in the area has been, accelerating. Going into the tail end of this year, Tru Roots. But yeah, just trying to, whatever we don't need to spend money on, don't spend it, right? And try to save. And hearing self-funding this is, don't nobody come looking for me, I don't have it. Right? So, it makes it sound, big, given that we know the what it's gonna take to get it open. But I'm really hopeful. I think that we're getting the traction around these concessionaires that are in these spaces that see our vision and will help us with the offset of the cost, right? And to come in under what we want to spend, because they in turn will see the value. We're seeing the value in our pocket, and so everybody is winning in that situation. I hope, and that's our hope, right?
Yeah.
To help us with cost.
Yeah. You mentioned our jobs, and I think that has been a really good investment with Lori that has allowed us to keep working. Bringing on a consultant allows Tru Roots to be moving when we cannot move it. It allows Tru Roots to be present when we cannot be present. I know when we check in with her, oftentimes to hear that she's sending out emails, she's making calls, all while we may be taking care of the kids, on meetings for our real jobs, things like that. So again, as we weigh, is it a really good investment? Yes, hands down, because anything that pushes Tru Roots forward gives us a day closer to eventually Tru Roots will be our jobs. Yeah.
So, I always get on myself for this, but Tru Roots is already a real job.
It is.
It's already a real job.
It is.
It's already a real job.
You're right.
You know, because when I bartend, I'm like, oh yeah, and my real job. No, this is a real job. I'm doing it. I mean, right now this is a real job.
It is.
I'm working. So speak that into this my real job.
Yeah.
I might have another job, but this is my real one. Because really the other job, it them folk job.
That's so true.
It's the folk job.
True.
So Tru Roots
Yes.
is your job.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Lori's seeing the vision. At first, when we met with her, she was unsure, and we sent her, information that she can. But she's running with it now.
Yeah.
And she see it now. She can speak to it without trying to remember what we're told. What we mentioned to her. And I think recently speaking to her, that really stood out to me. And I'm looking forward to what we got first of the year, meeting with her, attending the conference, exhibiting, and seeing what we get out of that conference.
Yeah, that buy-in is important.
Yeah.
Now that we are clear that Tru Roots is your real job, so you have successes and failures. You are the face of Tru Roots. I mean, along with your kids and stuff, the VPs, okay? But you're the face of this. So you're the face of every success, but also every failure. How does it work with you as a couple, and how do you support each other when one of you feels that weight of maybe an area of opportunity or failure, however you want to look at it, more than the other? How do you support each other in those ways?
I think first is, giving each other grace, right? We're gonna mess up, we're gonna run into, obstacles, issues, what have you. But realizing that, and then knowing where to step in, right, and to offer that support. But also, we've been together for some time. It's pretty open communication around here, so it's not that I got to probe and figure out what's wrong, right? It's clear most of the time. So giving each other grace, understanding within Tru Roots, we have certain niches within it that we're good at, right? And we can focus on it. So realizing, what those areas are, but then filling in when, we're seeing a lack or the down, you're feeling down about, whatever the case may be as it relates to Tru Roots. So trying to be aware around the partner within this establishment.
Yeah.
I think grace and boundaries, we really try to turn it off at a certain time at night. Sometimes you can't, but we do try to have dedicated days throughout the week where it's not prioritized. Because we found that without having those days to decompress, to walk away from it, I think that's when you see your partner carrying some of that more. And then, like you said, it is nothing I can ask him where I know he would give me a real raw response.
Yeah.
And in this world of entrepreneurship where we are right now, that is so vital, hands down. So affirming partnership, and I told you at the beginning of this, love rules all. Like, we have a business together, but our relationship is first.
On the next episode of How to Stay Married, okay, after this commercial break, all the things,
That's a cute segue.
Thank you. I'll be here all week. Technically all season. You spoke about Lori and her seeing your vision. Like she's bought in, she's on it, she's doing what she needs to do. But that doesn't happen for everybody, and you also spoke about rejection, when people are like, no, and not not right now, but just a no. And so looking at that in a large organization like, for instance, the Atlanta airport, how do you manage those rejections? And, can you give us an example of, again, when you were rejected and how you reacted to it?
Yeah, I think rejection is going to come with it. That is something that we talked about, we embraced, right? We've been lucky to see a lot of success because it is a gap. But reality of it is hearing a no is going to happen.
Yeah.
I think most recently it's been really important to us to maintain ownership of the company. And as we were exploring partnerships, one particular partner wanted us to go 50-50 for life. And we were not quite ready to do that. We are not ready to do that. And
You know, idea.
to communicate that to her, to provide the reasoning for even a historical context of Black female founders have to give up most of the time 50% of their company to get funded. And I do not want to do that. I will not do that. So having that core conversation with her, we were even open to 4159, but that was a no for her. And hearing that no, we had to be okay with that. We had to stay rooted in our values.
And she had to be okay with it.
And she had to be okay with it. So that's a reflection of rejection because she would have brought in easeability to capital assets, but she had no critical airport connects. So the question at that time was partnership for the money. But no, after we discussed it, we debated about it, giving up 50% of Tru Roots is not an option. So that particular moment, I think, really has built us and prepared us for rejection and boundaries right now. What are we not willing to compromise on? What are our hard no's, and vice versa? So hearing someone say no, I can understand they may be rooted in their values. No, it's important for me to have X, Y, and Z, but I can have that too. It's my company and I can provide that. So ever since that moment, I don't take no personally. No, because we all have our no's. Yes.
And really, you told her no.
Yes, hands down. Hands down.
Okay, we 50-50 on that. Yeah, that was a good one for you. Okay, I'm gonna go with that. That's your 50-50.
Yeah, she's on a 50-50.
Yeah. The audience at Business in the Black, or with Business in the Black, or that listens to Business in the Black, has a plethora of great ideas. I mean, everybody has a great idea at some point in juncture. I mean, even if it's a new deck of cards that you want to come up with, you know. But with you all and Tru Roots, how are you figuring out? Yeah, we got the VPs up there, y'all. They come down here and meet y'all in a minute. So I hope you meet them because they want to be on this recording, okay? And they coming. So how are you surveying, if you will, or how are you figuring out if other parents have the same need, or if they just running through the airport just trying to get to the next flight?
Yes, the power behind social media, right? Survey. So we release a survey. It's pinned to most of our social media profiles.
Okay. And you see them down there at the bottom of the screen.
There we go. And then our following is parents. When people see our content, when they see the renderings, when they see our pages, they automatically feel the relief. Like, this is needed. Especially as we're coming off the heels of holiday travel. We're coming off the heels of so many required delays because air traffic controllers are at a shortage. I think everyone's feeling it. And as we talk about it often, everyone has flown. And the moment that a mom and a baby come sit beside you, you know that feeling, and you know the experience that could happen. So as a parent, hands down, if you could break before you get on that plane, let them decompress, how much more would that just change?
Yeah. I'll just build on to what you just mentioned around data. Data is everything. Data is the facts, right? And so when you mentioned how you have a concept, but does it work? The data will show you if it'll work or not, right? And so part of that is we will push and pull in between before the airport, just setting up in a community, right? And now you have the population, what's the age of the demographics around you, what's the right? All this, what are they making? The incomes, right? That drives what we're gonna do. But once we pivoted and focused on the airport, we have a captive audience 7 days a week. Thousands, millions of people are moving through these spaces. And so you think about the ebb and flows if you were out in a community versus a location in the airport with so many people walking by. That fact alone made more sense, right? In trying to get into that space. Airports have a ton of data of who comes through there, right? And so when you look at some of the data that's provided, access that we can get access to, whether it be ages, incomes, who likes to spend what, it made sense for us based on that data and sort of putting all of that together.
You kind of alluded to this in your previous question and answer, but the data also showed you at some point to kind of adjust your thinking, because airports hasn't always been the home for Tru Roots. Walk us through like some of that.
Yeah, it started out, the idea was there. We moved here to Georgia and wanted to get settled before we ventured into another concept or business. And so once we got settled or felt a little settled here, we said, all right, let's jump back on Tru Roots. And the goal was to do it out here in South Atlanta, Henry County, and service this area.
Yeah.
Started out, I'm looking up the county demographics, the surrounding counties. How many people are out here? How many families or kids can we get in front of?
Yeah.
That started there, and it didn't really deter us. It was some refinement that took place. And so we were just randomly talking about Tru Roots and said, what if it was in the airport? And it was like a light bulb moment. And it was, okay, let's dig more into it. And I think the one major piece was the consistent flow of people and the people from all over, right, that could take this information, what we're doing, back to their home city, right? And so that was the driving force or the linchpin in which we said, let's really pursue this airport concept. We didn't know who to contact first. It was just a matter of let's go and attack that sort of area or niche, if you will, and we're sitting here today.
I think that's really important because, like I said, a lot of times your first idea, even if it's the same concepts, might not be the idea that's the woo, you know. So just giving like the people to like know, hey, okay, I thought about it like this, and then after a couple of days, I'm like, but what if I had done it like this? And so just having that introspective view and being able to figure out how to operationalize and think through be your own consultant. Don't take my job. I see what you did there. Good.
I don't think Jamarcus gives himself enough credit. Taking Tru Roots to the airport was his idea. And as we talk about partnership over a glass of wine, and he randomly was like, imagine Tru Roots at the airport. From there, I would not let it go. And that's where he hit the ground running. If you want to do airport, here's the contact information. And so no, hands down, we can give a corporate response, but I'm very lucky to have a partner who saw the dream bigger than what it was.
I'm crying. It just something went through, These people been together since high school, and they still so, connected and in love and stuff, and giving each other credit and sharing it. Just give me a moment. All right. But that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Yeah, how she came back and like, he ain't tell it right.
No, you gotta give himself some credit.
Yeah, we went to church yesterday, and it's interesting you say that because pride was, having too much pride. To get in front of you, and I've always been one to put that to the side. Is the project or the team is bigger, right? And you're right, but but
you're right.
It wasn't the goal, right? It was just to get how far can we go with this, right? And so
but as a woman, if I say, hey, I want to open this, and after weeks of back and forth and brainstorming, and he was like, well, what it would really hit at the airport, and I'm like, So then as I'm asking him every day, well, what about the airport? He knew he couldn't turn back now. And so again, to sow my seed into him and he allowed it to grow like that, I'm super grateful.
I feel that Tru Roots seeds and growing. I see what you did there. Okay? It seems like every episode. And I mean, if you watch the episodes, you know. But and of course, hopefully you've watched enough episodes to know too. But marketing is a huge thing and the two of you have talked about the partnership that you have. So I assume that you do your own marketing, and you have this concept to where you do at least 2 posts a day, 2 posts a day, and on your social media accounts or what have you. Now, every day, ain't no way that you just feel like doing this every day. And coming up with the concept and making sure it's edited right and making sure this and making sure that. Entrepreneurship is not for the weak, and we know that. And so again, being your own marketing team as well as your thought process team or whatever, how do you push through on those days you're like, I really don't feel like doing this day. I don't even feel like coming up with a quote to post.
Yeah. Planning and discipline. As we talked about a lot, quitting is not an option.
Yeah.
We're so deep in at this point. And then we have 2 littles in tow. And
the VPs.
The VPs. They are in tow and they're watching every step of the way. So for me, on the days I don't feel like it, making sure I'm planning, because I'm a mom too, so scheduling those posts out, sitting down and going ahead and decide on the 5, and realizing it don't have to be perfect, it just needs to get done. And that's the biggest thing. We do our own marketing. I drive the marketing branch of it. But yeah, it has to be done. It's not a question. And when you hold yourself accountable, then you'll start seeing some of those execution points.
Yeah, I would agree. Keita drives the marketing. I do understand the significance of social media and marketing. Previous career, museums. I saw how the reach you can have with social media, saw an increase in visitations and attendance at events and things of that nature. So it's not the top of my list, right? But I do understand the significance and try to provide insight or ideas that that Keita making posts and, take that load off of her.
At minimum, some analytics.
He does analyze all the analytics for the platforms. I download the spreadsheets and send them his way. I will say, oftentimes, business owners, entrepreneurs lead heavy on Instagram, Twitter, but we have found a lot of success, most of our success through LinkedIn. And again, it's not a platform for every business, right? If you're a restaurant owner, it probably wouldn't be the best area for connects. But for us, tapping into the airport ecosystem to get on the radars of airport directors, business development personnel, LinkedIn, penetrating their LinkedIn has been so beneficial for us. And if anyone's on LinkedIn is like a job. So being able to check in, post, things like that, a lot of success, a lot of traction, a lot of concept proof was driven and affirmed through LinkedIn.
Wow. Yeah. Never know.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah.
With the star.
Yeah, LinkedIn is really good. Yeah.
So that's a plug for y'all now. Run us a corner. Thank you for coming to my TikTok.
He'll give you a few partnerships.
I mean, please. Hashtag this, hashtag
yes. That's funny.
So speaking of LinkedIn, you say you've made some really good connections on there. Give us an example of one.
I think one of the most important connections we've made is finding and sourcing our consultant, Lori Ballard, through LinkedIn.
Shout out to Lori.
Yeah, shout out to Lori. We love Lori. She's based in Detroit. Decades worth of industry knowledge. But I think we mentioned earlier in this podcast, a big learning gap for us was learning the ecosystem of the airport. And we both work full-time jobs with kids, so as I mentioned, feels like grad school.
Yeah.
At that point in time, we decided to hire a strategic consultant to come on and school us, basically. Like, when should we be applying, where we should be applying, what things should we consider when applying for concession spots. So that was sourced through LinkedIn. That relationship was sourced through LinkedIn, fostered through LinkedIn.
Wow.
And then how it unlocks other networks. So once we brung her on, onboarded her. We also followed her on LinkedIn. That opened up her network for us.
Yeah.
And with her being decades in the field, that allowed us to gain trust through a lot of airports pretty rapidly.
Wow.
I think that was a turning point of, hey, we're serious. We're trying to learn. We're trying to make sure this is on track. We're trying to align return on investments for you and us. And she is beloved within the ecosystem. So the most important relationship so far we've gotten out of there is actually our consultant we hired on.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing.
It is.
You've had a problem and solved it.
Yeah, hire your weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Expansion is the goal. You all have already talked about 2 or 3 locations that you're thinking about partnering with, and sourcing those locations is the goal. So let's pretend that, or see ourselves in the future.
Mhm.
Everything goes according to plan.
Mhm.
What does success look like for you in 5 years?
I think 5 years, Tru Roots is a standalone, well-recognized brand. I think, and solely around driving the community, the parents, the children, I think will be, in 5 years, a recognized brand across a handful of airports is the goal. Being able to free ourselves financially a little bit will be an ultimate goal for me. And be able to put something aside for our kids will be the cake, will be the icing on that cake for me in 5 years.
Yes. I think in 5 years, as Jamarcus said, Tru Roots is a household brand. We are embedded in the community and within most international airports in the U.S. But I think my bonus would be being international. And I don't have my heart set on anywhere, but to see your brand go international would be dope. So, yeah.
Think about Heathrow.
Yeah, that works. UK has been eyeing us, so you don't know where we'll end up, but yeah.
I feel that. So kind of 5 years from now, you really want to see your first dream come to fruition. Because you all were talking about, in your own community having blah, 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 blah. So really it's a full circle.
Full circle moment.
Yeah. So really the airport is your entryway.
Yeah.
And that's another piece that's like down the road at the bottom of the list, right? It's 5 years doing well. What does this look like in, a community?
Yeah.
Education is, I think we're both passionate about it. We understand resources, we understand access. So what does that look like, and what role can Tru Roots play within that, right?
Yeah.
That space. So
Yeah.
More to come.
And Tru Roots has the possibility to embed in major parks like Truist Stadium, and I even mentioned to him Sweet Space, where again these are family-friendly areas with no catering to kids. So again, if you're in between 2 suites and have Tru Roots and you see the kids in between, so to be embedded in more than just airports, but again, someone on their couch know what Tru Roots is, I'll be happy.
I feel it. You want partnerships with airlines, lounges, storefronts, and all the things. So talk to me about, what value, if you will, that you would bring to them beyond just that play space.
I think one critical component that Tru Roots carry is access to essentials. Formula, diapers, baby wipes, even small medicine, teething toys, where you're out and about and just cannot go pick it up. It's something a lot of the times moms leave the house without, and just need access to it. So again, outside of a safe haven, a play space for kids, we're also providing essentials for parents on the go.
Yeah, and I think brand recognition, partnering with Delta, that was based here in Georgia, United, American Airlines, to build that brand recognition early on with the families, the children that we're taking care of as they're visiting or through the various cities. And this child may remember their parents always flying Delta Airlines, and they can remember Tru Roots. We had a partnership, and so they become of age and they're a Delta customer now, right?
Yeah.
Because of that early brand awareness and recognition. So I hope that we can build something out like that across multiple airlines and carriers for the future.
Great. We have the family, you know. I don't know if we the Obamas or, you know, who we the Cosbys, because that was the family that I loved, you know. If we Fresh Prince and their family, I don't know who we are, but I mean, it's just a, you know, perfect little picture of a family. And you know what? I'm in the family too. I'm in the family. We brothers. You ain't know this is my brother. Hey, you know, we held it to the end for y'all. But in any case, that's why I dressed like him today, like-minded, didn't even know it. Boom, boom, boom. We in color. But looking at that family aspect, I know that is something that is deeply rooted in Tru Roots. Ting Tong. Okay, these words, some words, I'm hitting them today, okay? But in any case, you know, you're trying to build something, you know, where only 2% of airport concessions are Black owned.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at that, and then looking at your beautiful children who we've seen throughout the podcast, but now we're seeing them live and in living color, okay? Thinking about Mahogany, thinking about Creed, thinking about what they could potentially inherit, you know, and, you know, as a catch, you know, the same thing, you know, allowing them to watch you two build this together, you know. How does that make you feel? You know, what are the things beyond the metrics and success of Tru Roots itself, but just looking at the legacy, what does that mean to you?
I think that's my driving force every day. One particular story we haven't mentioned in terms of motivation, as we were noodling about Tru Roots, Mahogany has come home from school. She's kind of in that phase where the teacher is asking what she wants to be when she grows up.
Okay.
And she looks at me and states my current job and says she wants to do that and work from home.
Oh.
So I know to the average Joe that I should be satisfied with that. And that is a decent goal. But I want so much more for her. So as we started building Tru Roots and told her about Tru Roots, she's ready to run the company. She's ready to take over. She's ready to grow it international. She loves to be in the heart of the city. So when I think about the legacy, I think about the future that I'm providing her in Creed. I jokingly say to Jamarcus often, I feel like I would have done my job if they benefit from nepotism.
Yeah, I mean, they're already vice president.
Yes.
I mean, you've heard them throughout the podcast, hopefully, because I mean, I left it on there, okay? So you can be ready.
They are, if you look up Tru Roots Company, they are listed as VPs for the company. Mahogany being VP of Tiny Traveler Experiences.
Okay.
And Creed is VP of Tiny Traveler Play.
Oh.
So he's making sure everything is built tough.
I feel it.
And she's making sure everything is a vibe. So with that, again, for the world to truly be their oyster, for them to have a little lighter load to build from, to grow from, to live from.
Yeah.
I think outside of Tru Roots, that will be well.
Awesome.
Yeah, I definitely. You mentioned everything, right? And they watch everything we do, and just being a positive example for them to follow. Their friends, right? Eventually, they're gonna have friends. So, what does that look like? And then, starting so early, we hope that it's not a forced hand. Y'all need to go do this work, but they embrace it on their own and wanting to get involved and find themselves within Tru Roots or their own venture that they want to pursue. So yeah, that's weird.
Awesome. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure having each of you and our two VPs on the podcast Business in the Black today. And I have just thoroughly enjoyed being here in your home. It's so lovely here, the ambiance and the energy and all that. We have laughed. We have, I cried because, they high school sweethearts and, I tugged on my heart some, and the kids have been actively participating in the podcast as well, So we are just so appreciative to you sharing your story, sharing your plans, because again, every story is different. Every podcast episode is different. And what I hope is that in each episode, somebody sees a little bit of themselves in the guest. And that they see a little bit of, oh, I can do this. I may have a big goal, but if I just keep at it, I just keep going, that's what I would like to see. That would be my success story, if you will. And in addition to that, all the people waiting. I ain't got no kids, but I'm find some, and we coming to Tru Roots, okay? So we are really excited to see you all grow and to see everything that you hope for and dream for come to fruition. And we look forward to having you back when Tru Roots is in place and when the book come out. Because when the book come out, we're looking for that 1, 2, 3. Okay. It's gonna be on tape that this how the book came up. Okay, don't forget about the little people. Okay,
I won't.
Cool. Well, again, thank you all so much.
All right, we appreciate it. You want to say something? Good.
I got something to say. What? What? All this talking
Right.
and mommy and all this kind of stuff.
Come
Oh
downstairs.
my! And now you want to be shy. See, they ain't had but one question, so they ain't ready. It take about 2 or 3 to get around here. I feel it. Cool.
Thank you for Business in the Black for inviting us in today to talk a little bit about Tru Roots and introduce it to a larger crowd audience. Any primary concessionaires that are out there operating across any airport, please reach out to us. We'd love to sit down and see how we can work together and share the value that we each can bring each other.
And to everyone watching or listening, make sure you're following our journey on Instagram at truroots.play. We can also be contacted via email at truerootsplay@gmail.com. And we're super excited. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Business in the Black. If today's conversation resonated with you, be sure to follow the podcast and share this episode with someone who's building alongside you. New episodes drop bi-weekly, so stay connected with us on social media for behind-the-scenes moments and key takeaways. Until next time, keep building with intention.